I'm 70 years old, raised 3 children and 6 grandbabies in this little house in Mobile, Alabama. My husband's Purple Heart and Silver Star sat in the same velvet box on my dresser for 47 years. Last week my oldest grandson, the one I rocked when his mama was too high to do it, stole those medals and pawned them for drug money. So last night, while the rest of the world slept, I cooked his favorite Sunday dinner: fried chicken, macaroni and cheese that sticks to your ribs, collard simmered with ham hock, cornbread so sweet it'll make you cry, and a coconut cake tall enough to need its own zip code. I set the table with the good china and the lace cloth my mama tatted. And at 9 o'clock sharp this morning, when he walked in hungover, grinning like he still had me fooled, he froze dead in his tracks. Because the man already sitting at my table eating a second helping of my cornbread was wearing my husband's medals on his chest. Stay with me, sugar. This story ain't short, but I promise every minute is worth your time. Before I continue, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to The Spoken Pen, and let us know in the comments where in the world you're listening from. Your support helps bring stories like this to life. My name is Miss Loretta Mae Jackson. Most folks just call me Miss Retta. I'm 70 years old, widowed 22 years come December, and I live in the same little yellow shotgun house on Dauphin Street in Mobile, Alabama, that my husband Earl and I bought the year Martin Luther King marched through here. This house has seen births, deaths, hurricanes, and more Sunday dinners than any soul can count. It's seen love. It's seen pain. And last week, it saw betrayal so deep I didn't know if my old heart could carry it. But before I tell you what happened at that dinner table this morning, you need to understand how we got here. Because nothing hurts worse than loving somebody who forgot how to love you back. It started 6 months ago. My oldest grandson, DeAndre, everybody calls him Dre, turned 29. He was always my baby. His mama, my daughter Tasha, got caught up in pills when Dre was barely walking. Earl and I raised that boy from diapers. Taught him to read with the big family Bible. Took him to Little League, to church choir, to every Veterans Day parade so he could watch his granddaddy march in that uniform. Earl used to pin those medals on Dre's little chest and say, "Boy, these ain't just metal. These are promises. Promise to be brave. Promise to protect the weak. Promise never to forget where you come from." Dre would stand so tall you'd think he was already 6 foot. We buried Earl in 2003. Vietnam finally caught up with his lungs. At the funeral Dre was 16, tall as his granddaddy, crying so hard the preacher had to stop talking. He promised me that day, "Granny, I'm gonna make you proud. I'm gonna be the man he couldn't stay here to see." I believed him. Lord, how I believed him. Fast forward 13 years. Dre lost his job at the shipyard when they started laying folks off. Then he lost his apartment. Then he lost whatever light used to shine in his eyes. He started coming around more, needing a little help, "Granny," just till Friday. $20 turned into 50. 50 turned into 200. I'd slip it to him quiet because I still saw that little boy with the gap-toothed smile. Then the little things started disappearing. My good cast-iron skillet. The silver candlesticks Earl's unit gave us for our 50th anniversary. I told myself he was selling them to eat. Mothers and grandmothers, we are professional liars when it comes to protecting our babies. But last Tuesday, I opened the top drawer of my dresser to get my good stockings for Bible study, and the black velvet box was gone. Just gone. I knew right then. Because those medals never leave this house. I sleep with that box under my pillow when storms come, like Earl's still protecting me. I sat down on the edge of my bed and I cried so quiet the walls didn't even hear me. Then I got mad. Not loud mad. Old woman, Holy Ghost, dangerous calm mad. I knew where he pawned things. Same sorry shop over on Broad Street that don't ask too many questions. I put on my Sunday hat, took the bus across town, and walked in there like I owned the place. The man behind the counter knew me from church. His face went gray when I asked to see recent military medals. He slid that velvet box across the glass like it was burning his fingers. Inside were Earl's purple heart and silver star, still warm from the display case lights. Price tag, $180. I paid the man $200 to get them back and told him if he ever took anything from my family again, I would be back with people who wear badges for a living. He believed me. I carried that box home on the bus pressed to my chest like a newborn. When I walked in my front door, I didn't cry. I went straight to the kitchen and started pulling out every pot I own. Because when a Jackson woman is broken, she cooks. And when she is done cooking, somebody is going to feel the weight of every tear that went into that food. I started at 3:17 in the morning. I know the exact time because the old mantel clock Earl brought home from Saigon chimed 3 and then kept on ticking like it knew time was running out for foolishness. First I fried chicken, 3 whole birds cut up the way Earl liked, soaked overnight in buttermilk and hot sauce, rolled in flour seasoned so good it ought to be illegal. The grease popped and sang like Sunday morning radio. Then I boiled macaroni and stirred in sharp cheddar, Colby, mozzarella, and a whole stick of butter, topped it with more cheese and baked it till the edges turned dark and crispy, the way Dre likes it when he thinks nobody's paying attention. Collards went in the pot with a big ol' ham hock, a splash of vinegar, a spoon of sugar, and a whole onion. I let them cook low and slow until they surrendered, soft as forgiveness but tasting like memory. Cornbread next, my mama's recipe, buttermilk, a little bacon grease in the skillet so the bottom gets that perfect crust. I made 2 big pans because I knew company was coming. And the coconut cake, Lord have mercy, 4 layers, each one soaked with coconut milk, iced with 7-minute frosting and fresh grated coconut. I baked that cake tall enough to need prayer just to stand up straight. While things cooked and cooled, I set the table. White lace tablecloth my mama tatted when she was carrying me. The good china with the tiny pink roses Earl bought me in Japan on R&R, real silverware, polished till it hurt to look at. Cloth napkins starched so stiff they could stand on their own. In the middle I put Earl's medals in their box, lid open, shining under the chandelier like they were waiting on parade. I brewed tea strong enough to wake the dead and set out the good glasses with the gold rims. By 8:30 everything was ready. The house smelled like love used to live here. I changed into my Sunday dress, navy blue with tiny white dots, the one I wear on 5th Sundays when the spirit is high. I pinned my hair, put on the pearl earrings Earl gave me the day Dre was born, and sat down at the head of the table. At 8:57 I heard his key in the lock. He still had a key. I hadn't taken it back yet. The door opened and Dre stumbled in, eyes red, clothes wrinkled, smelling like last night's bad decisions. He took one look at the dining room and that cocky grin crawled across his face like he thought I'd cooked all this to welcome him home. "Granny, what's all this?" "You shouldn't have," he started, reaching for a piece of cornbread. That's when the chair at the far end of the table scraped back. A man stood up. 6'3", ramrod straight, dress blues pressed so sharp they could cut glass. Silver hair cropped close, chest full of ribbons, and right in the center, Earl's purple heart and silver star gleaming like they never left. Dre dropped the cornbread. It crumbled on my hardwood floor like his whole world just did. The man spoke, voice deep and slow like Gulf water at dawn. "Morning, DeAndre. Have a seat, son. Your grandmother went through an awful lot of trouble." Dre's mouth opened and closed like a catfish on dry land. Because the man wearing his granddaddy's medals was retired Marine Master Gunnery Sergeant Malcolm Mac Washington, Earl's best friend, the man who pulled my husband out of a burning hooch in '68 and carried him 2 miles to the medevac. The man Dre used to call Uncle Mac when he was little. The man who hadn't spoken to Dre in 8 years because he saw the path Dre was taking and it broke his heart. Mac never sat back down. He just stared at my grandson with eyes that had seen too much war to be fooled by excuses. Dre looked at me, tears already starting. "Granny. I was gonna get them back. I swear. I didn't raise my voice. I just opened the velvet box in the center of the table and touched the medals gentle, like they were still warm from Earl's chest. DeAndre James Jackson," I said, using his full Sunday name, the one the church rolls still carry. "These ain't trinkets. These are pieces of your granddaddy's soul. He bled for these. He cried for these. He died with these on his mind. And you sold them for one more high." Mac spoke again, softer this time. "I wore these today because your granddaddy can't. I wore them so you could see exactly what you threw away. Boy, I held your granddaddy while he took his last breath. He made me promise to watch over you if anything ever happened to him. I've been watching. And I've been ashamed." Dre sank into the chair like his legs forgot how to hold him. He put his head in his hands and cried, big, ugly, grown man sobs that shook the table. I got up slow, walked around, and stood behind him. I put my hand on his shoulder, gentle, the way I did when he had nightmares as a little boy. "Baby," I said, "rock bottom has a basement. You done found it. But the good Lord put a trap door in every basement, and it only opens upward. Today we climbing." I looked at Mac. He nodded once. "Dre," Mac said, "I got a place outside Pensacola. 30-day inpatient program run by Marines for Marines families. It's hard. You'll sweat, you'll cry, you'll think you're gonna die. But 30 days from now you'll be clean, or you'll be back on the street. Your choice. But you leave with me in 1 hour, or you never darken Miss Retta's door again." Dre looked up at me, snot and tears running together. "Granny, please, don't make me go. I can quit on my own." I knelt down beside his chair, old knees popping, and I took his face in both my hands. "Listen to me good," I whispered. "I love you more than my next breath. That's why I'm letting you go. Because if you stay here, you will kill me or I will kill myself trying to save you. Either way, we both lose. So you go with Uncle Mac. You get clean. You get right with God and with yourself. And when you got 30 days clean and a job and some humility in your pocket, then you call me. I'll be right here. Door stays open for the man you promised you'd become. But it is closed, locked, deadbolted, and chained to the boy who stole from a dead hero. He cried harder. But when Mac put a strong hand on his shoulder, Dre stood up. I walked them to the door. Mac stopped on the porch, metals still shining in the sun. "Miss Retta," he said, voice thick, "Earl would be proud of you today." I touched the Purple Heart one more time. "Earl already knew I was steel," I answered. "He just never wanted me to have to prove it." They got in Mac's old Bronco and drove away. I stood on that porch till the dust settled. Then I went back inside, sat down at my table, and for the first time in 6 months, I ate a full plate without fear sitting across from me. The food was still warm. The house was quiet. And for the first time in a long time, peace tasted better than anything I ever cooked. 33 days later my phone rang. A collect call from a treatment center in Florida. I accepted the charges. A voice I almost didn't recognize, clear, steady, and humble, said, "Granny? It's Dre. Day 33. I got a job offer at the VA hospital in Biloxi doing maintenance. They gonna let me finish the outpatient program there. Can I come home for Sunday dinner when I get my 60-day coin?" I smiled so big my cheeks hurt. "Baby," I said, "I already got the chicken thawing." That's the story, y'all. Sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the exact same thing. Sometimes love looks like a locked door. And sometimes the bravest thing a grandmother can do is let a lost boy hit the bottom so he can finally look up and see the man he was born to be. If you're still here with me, thank you for sitting at my table today. If this story touched you, do me a favor, leave me a heart in the comments and tell me what city you're watching from. I read every single one. And if you know a granny, a mama, an auntie who's loving somebody who's breaking her heart, send this to her. Let her know she ain't gotta carry that cross alone. I'll be back with another story from this little yellow house on Dauphin Street. Until then, keep your faith tall and your cornbread taller. This is Miss Retta, signing off. God bless you, sugar.